Hi, and welcome back to our search engine optimization tutorial. In this SEO tutorial, we're going to talk about using page heading tags as well as using alt and title attributes. We're going to talk about how to use those with your keywords and key phrases, and also, very importantly, something that a lot of people overlook: how to coordinate using your SEO keywords and key phrases in these different elements so that they make the most sense to Google and other search engines. So let's go ahead and get started by talking about heading tags. Well, the first thing that we need to discuss when we actually talk about heading tags is the importance of actually using them. Now, if you're watching this video, this probably is not a problem for you. You're probably using H tags on your page already. However, it's still fairly common sometimes to find web pages that instead of using H tags, that the author has simply made everything into a paragraph, enclosed everything in P tags, and then uses class styles to increase or decrease the font size when they want to have a heading. And that's something you definitely shouldn't be doing. You should be using heading tags and be using them properly on your page. And actually, the last really important thing about a heading tag is the font size. The font size is the least important attribute of a heading tag. The most important attribute of a heading tag is the actual level that it's at. Is it an H1 tag, an H2 tag, an H3 tag, which are the three main heading levels that you're going to be using on your web page. Now, HTML actually has heading tags all the way through level 6, so you can also use H4s, H5s, and H6s to indicate smaller headings on your page. However, for SEO purposes, really the only three levels that matter are going to be the H1 tag, H2, and H3 tag. Search engines tend to really discount the value of H4, 5, and 6 tags. And the reason for that is a lot of times people use those lower level H tags to do unusual things on your web page. So sometimes they're not really headings at all, and that's one of the reasons why Google and other search engines tends to devalue them. It certainly doesn't hurt to use them, and it definitely will not hurt to have your keywords and key phrases in those lower level H tags, but your primary focus should be on your H1s, H2s, and H3s for your page. Now, every page in your website should contain one and only one H1 tag. That is very, very important because the H1 tag tells Google what the primary focus or topic of your page is. And if you have more than one H1, Google can't understand, again, what the primary focus is of that page. You can have as many H2s and H3s as you want to organize the content on your page, but again, you should only have one H1 tag, and that H1 tag should act sort of as a title for your page. Don't get that confused with the title tag that you place in the head section. But your H1 tag, your single H1 tag, should act as a main title for your page. And it is important that that H1 tag relate to other elements, important SEO elements on your page. And the keywords and key phrases that you use in your H1 tag should also be used in the title tag that you placed in the heading section, as well as in the description meta tag that you place in the heading. So Google and other search engines see a relationship between the main H1 tag that your page uses and the title tag and the description meta tag that you use in the head section. You don't need to use the exact same keywords and key phrases. A lot of people do use whatever is in their H1 tag as the content for their title tag, and that doesn't hurt anything at all. But it is okay to use slight variants. For example, you can use the plural forms in one place and the singular forms of your keywords and key phrases in another place. But there should be that relationship between your single H1 tag and your title and your meta tag description. Now, again, your page should have at least one H2 tag as well, unless it's a page that has very, very little content on it. And pages with very little content, maybe 100 or 200 characters, Google tends to really discount the value of those pages. So the size of your page, while it can be as large as you want, and it's very popular to have very long single homepage style designs. So you can have as much content as you want on your page, but every page should have at least 400 or 500 characters on it. And it should contain that single H1 tag and at least one H2 tag. But you can have as many H2 tags on your page as you want. And the H2 tag, again, needs to highlight the keywords and key phrases that the H2 tag contains, needs to highlight the content that it is heading. Now, when it comes to H3 tags, your H3 tags are always going to go below an H2 tag. And again, Google sees that there should be a relationship between your H3 tags and your H2 tags. So there should be some coordination that's going on there. It's also important to remember that you probably do not want to have the name of your business or the name of your organization in your H1 tag for your page. The name of your business or organization is probably, not always, but probably not what you want search engines to focus on when they're trying to figure out what the main keywords and key phrases are for your page. And the reason for that is simple. Most of the time when people are searching for your business and you want them to find your page, they're not going to type in the name of your business. They're going to type in words that describe your business. So for example, let's say you have a coffee shop in Los Angeles and the name of your coffee shop is Timothy's Coffee. Most people are not going to search for Timothy's Coffee. They're going to search for Los Angeles coffee shop. Oftentimes, if you're a brick and mortar style business, the geographic region that your business is in, along with some descriptive words, are important to include in your heading tags. So the name of your business, in our example, Timothy's Coffee, that might be in an H2 tag on your page. So Google will still look at it, realize that it's an important description for your page, but it's not in your H1 tag. Now, A final thing about headings is that heading tags can contain text, and most of the time they do contain text, but they can also contain images. So you can enclose images inside of H tags. Now, as far as your main H1 tag goes, and the regular headings that are on your page, these should almost always be text. They should really never be images. Again, an older practice in web design, before it was easy to include special fonts through tools like Google Web Fonts, a very common practice was to make decorative text into an image and then include that on your page. But now, since decorative text is fairly easy to do with a regular font, you no longer really need to use images in your heading tags. The one exception to that may be the name of your business. The name of your business you may use some special font for, or the name of your business may be incorporated into a logo. So for that reason, it may not be possible to include the name of your business in a regular text font. You may need to use an image for it. And in that case, again, it's okay to enclose that image inside of your heading tags. We're going to talk about alt text in just a moment. And alt text is basically a text description for your images, and you need to make sure that you use that in conjunction with the heading tags as well. So that's just sort of like a brief overview of using heading tags. And the information that I think is the most valuable for the largest number of people watching this video is that you need to coordinate how your keywords and key phrases appear. There should be a relationship between your H1 tag, the content of your H1 tag, and the content of your title tag and your meta description. If you have an H3 on your page, there should be a relationship to the H2 that comes underneath it, as far as the keywords and key phrases that you're highlighting. If there's not a relationship between the H3 and the H2, well, that's an indication that that's not really a third level heading. That's a different heading altogether, so should probably be an H2. So that coordination is, in some cases, a very fine point in SEO, but it's a very important point, and one that's neglected a lot of times in information about search engine optimization, and even by companies who do SEO, on-page SEO services for other people. So now let's go ahead and let's talk about two other elements, the alt attribute and the title attribute, and how you're going to go ahead and use those on your page. Now, the alt attribute is simply a text description of an image. And this is used by search engines to understand what information an image is conveying to somebody who's actually looking at your page. Now, if the image in question is the banner for the entire page, the alt attribute should contain keywords and key phrases that correspond with the H1 tag for the page. So again, if it's a banner for the entire page, there needs to be a coordination between the keywords and key phrases that you used in your H1 tag and the keywords and key phrases that you're using in the alt attribute for the banner of your page. If the image in question is under a secondary heading, if it's under an H2 heading or an H3 heading, the image alt attributes text should be coordinated or should correspond to the keywords or key phrases that you use for that particular heading. So again, here there's an importance in a correspondence between what an image is and the purpose that it serves and other elements in your SEO. If it's a banner image, well, that's related to the entire page, so there should be a correspondence between your H1 tag and your banner alt text. If an image is a secondary image under a secondary tag, then there needs to be a connection between those elements that are there. Alt attribute text needs to be short also. Generally speaking, your alt text should really be just one short sentence, no more than about 100 characters. The shorter, more concise, the better. And the keywords and key phrases should appear as close to the beginning of the alt attribute text as possible. You shouldn't wait to the actual end of the text in your alt attribute to include your keywords and key phrases. The important ones that you're trying to highlight, those should come up first. So let's go ahead and take a look, because a lot of people may not have included an alt attribute in their image or in their images before. So let's go ahead and take a look at how you would include an alt attribute. And then I also want to go back, in the last video we talked about enclosing images inside of heading tags for things like your logo. And again, the importance of using alt text there. And we'll see an example of that as well. So here you can see I've opened up a web page, and you can see here I've got some images. In this case, they're in their social media icons, but you can see I have my image tag right here. Now, the image tag always has at least one attribute. That's the source attribute. You can place the alt attribute either before or after the source attribute. Doesn't matter at all. I'm going to go ahead and place it before, and I'm just going to go ahead and type ALT equals and then a quote. And again, that's the normal format that an attribute takes. The name of the attribute, an equal sign, and then a quotation mark. And then inside the quotation mark, that's where you go ahead and place your keywords and key phrases. Oops. And again, the alt attribute can be really short, or it could be up to 100 characters long. If you have short and concise keywords and key phrases, better put an S on the end of there, it's easy to put the alt attribute at the beginning of the image tag. But if you're going to have a longer alt attribute, I've found that placing it after the source attribute is a little bit easier when you're actually editing your code. So that's as simple as it is to put an alt tag inside of an image. Now, scrolling down a little bit further here, we'll find another image. And here's a banner image that I have here. And it's actually inside of a div called banner right. And the ID here is banner image, and you can see here's the source to my banner image. Now, if this again, I'd want to put some alt text inside of here. So I can go ahead and do alt equals quote, keywords and key phrases. And if I wanted to enclose this banner in a heading tag so that this gets emphasized, and again, this is an optional step, you don't need to do this, but I can just simply do H3 here. I can do H2 or whatever I wanted, and then remember to close that as well. So you can enclose an image inside of a heading tag, and the text that's inside of your alt tag will take on the same importance as the heading level that you went ahead and placed it in. And again, since this image is underneath really this H2 tag here, the alt text, the keywords and key phrases that you use in your alt text, there should be a relationship here between this and the keywords and key phrases that you place inside of this H2 tag. There should always be a relationship there. So that's simply how you use alt text inside of your images. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the final thing we're going to discuss in this tutorial, and that's how to use the title attribute. Now, the title attribute can be used on many different HTML elements, but the primary use for the title attribute is for use on links, on anchor tags that appear on your page. Now, the actual anchor text for your link, the actual text that you click on, should always have the keywords and key phrases that the page that you're linking to contains. Now, this is an important difference. It's the anchor text for your link, the text that they actually click on, should have the keywords and key phrases that relate to the page that you're linking to, not the current page, because search engines are going to look at your anchor text as an indication of what content is on the page that is being linked to. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there, and something that a lot of people miss when they're trying to understand the SEO. And really, you can't underestimate the importance of placing your keywords inside of the anchor text for your links. In the case of images that you may be using for your links, like little buttons and symbols and whatnot, you should include the keywords and key phrases in your alt text. And that actually becomes what Google considers the anchor text. Now, the title attribute is sort of an expanded version of your anchor text. And the reason why the title attribute is important is oftentimes the text, the anchor text that's associated with your or that's used for your links is going to be very short. Think about the primary links that are on your page. They might be welcome, about, products, services. They may just be single words. And when you're using a single word like that, oftentimes it's hard to include your keywords and key phrases in that actual anchor text. So again, that's where the title attribute comes in. If you have a link on your page and the link just simply says about, the title attribute that you include on that link should be about and then keywords and key phrases. So if you're trying to, let's go back to our example of Timothy Coffee. If the keywords and key phrases that you're trying to highlight are Los Angeles coffee shop, the anchor text might just be about. But the title attribute that you place on that link should be about Los Angeles coffee shop. So you're going to include the keywords and key phrases in that title. If you can include the keywords and key phrases in both the title and the anchor text, that's even better. But if, because of your design choices, your main links or any links are very short. Like, it's very common to see people with a link at the bottom of an area that says, click here to read more. The title attribute, or it would be preferable to make that link, click here to read more about Los Angeles coffee shops. But if you can't use that fuller anchor text, then using the title tag on that anchor or on that link will help your SEO. Now, the title attribute, again, should be short. Should be no more than 50 characters in this case. Should be even shorter than your alt text. And sometimes, depending on what browser your visitors are using, the title attribute will appear as a small little yellow tooltip. And you've probably seen this as you've hovered over different elements before. The title attribute will often be a tooltip for your link. So for that reason, you always want to make sure that your titles make sense if somebody sees them. You know, about Los Angeles coffee shop or about Timothy's Los Angeles coffee shop, that makes sense. So make sure that your title tag or your title attributes for your links make sense. Now, again, let's go ahead and take a look at a web page and place a title attribute on a link so you can see how to do that. So here we are back on our sample web page, and you can see I've got some links here. And the first link here is under the About section for company. And we have a link here to our mission statement. So let's say, instead of just saying mission statement, we want to say coffee shop mission statement. So we're going to go ahead and click inside of the A tag. And again, it doesn't matter if this comes before or after the href attribute. I usually put them before, but you can put them anywhere you want. And the name of the attribute is title. And then we'll do an equals and a quote, just like we do for any attribute. And I can go ahead and type Timothy's coffee shop mission statement, or whatever my keywords and key phrases are. Yeah, instead of saying Timothy here, I might say Los Angeles coffee shop mission statement. You want to make sure that there's a relationship between the anchor text and the text that's in your title attribute. If they're completely different, Google or other search engines might find that a little bit suspicious. But if there's a connection between the anchor text and the title, that will work just great. So that's how you put in a title attribute for a link. Well, that concludes our SEO tutorial on page headings, alt and title attributes. If you want to download the notes for this particular tutorial, simply go to timothyseo.net and click on tutorials, and you'll be able to download and see the notes for this video. And I will see you in the next SEO tutorial.